this is my market analysis. Today, I wanted to talk about some bigger theories out there in the market so that we get to understand what's really at play and how market cycles play a role in the general market. First off, this is for entertainment purposes only, and it's not financial advice. Make your own decision about your own money and never risk more than you can afford to lose. Now, if any of you have seen this one before, it's called the Wall Street Cheat Sheet. It talks about the market structure and it takes you through disbelief, hope, optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria, complacency, anxiety, denial, panic, anger, depression, and then it starts over again at disbelief. And markets go through this over and over and over again. And I thought it was a good time to talk about it because we have had a pandemic. We've had optimism, we've had belief, and we have had thrill, and now I believe that we are in euphoria. And the reason why I say that is because we have data that show us that right now in 2021, we have higher euphoria than we have ever had before. If you look at this chart, the last time we had this high of euphoria was in year 2000. I'm going to show you now soon why that is a bad thing. What happened in year 2000 when euphoria took over like it did? Here we have the SPY chart, which is the ETF of the S&P 500. And I marked off here that we were in a strong uptrend. We even broke the uptrend, but it was really, really quickly bought back up and it continued on its up move. When year 2000 hit and euphoria was at its highest, we experienced a lot of volatility and at some point it broke down. This is or would not have been that scary in a normal market because as you see it can break the trend line and still buy it back up, but that can only go for so long, and because we have been in a bull market for so long we expect this to break. When this broke after such a long period in the bull market, it not only had a pullback but it changed its trend to a downtrend, which is going to change the game because as you can see here, it was in a downtrend for more than a year, more than 2 years when it finally broke it, which means that we are potentially on the verge of a longer downtrend shift in the stock market, which will change the way that we have to think. We have to think opposite because now we've been thinking that all stocks are a buy because you have a higher probability of winning because the stock market is going up. If this shifts, we'll have a higher probability of winning if shorting the market or shorting a stock. And it might take a while before this trend changes. I just thought it might be something to keep in mind. And as you can see, euphoria hit in year 2000. It still took almost an entire year before this trend actually changed. So it's not that I'm not that worried after seeing that this market is taking longer than expected. Okay, let's get back to nowadays. Let's get back to 2020, 2021. As you can see now, we're still building that big, big rising wedge pattern. And we had a pandemic, but the pandemic did not change the overall trend of the market. The trend never changed. It had a huge pullback, a scare, before it quickly bounced up. And this market has not caught up to what it was before this pandemic. So even though the trend of the market has not changed, the trend of the economy is down. So there was a big, big gap between there. Jerome Powell, um, the chairman, have been talking about that the market is back to normal, and his job is essentially to make people believe that everything is okay so that the markets do not crash, which he has done fairly well. But at some point, the market is going to have to correct because the money supply just do not hold up according to these prices. So what happens next? That's the big, big picture. For today, we'll be looking at the market to potentially hit this upper trend line and hopefully break down or out of it. If it breaks out of it, we might see more volume coming in, or we might see volume coming in if it sells off. So it's still a very, very sketchy market. Um, so I would stick to stocks that have specific news so that we don't have to be affected by this market that is so insecure. Let's look at some stocks that have specific news for today. After looking over the news for today, there's not a lot of individual stocks that have specific news that will drive the price up. But I did look through some of the stocks that have been in a downtrend now lately, and I have always liked SNDL, Sundial Growers, and we see they're coming into these really, really strong support levels. So the weed market is falling, but they're also coming into support. We have this longer term trend line that is down here in the lower 80s, and we have these strong support levels that are at the same time. We also have this, let's see if I can touch it here, a 200 MA at the same place. So if you can catch this below 80 cents, I will expect a bounce up at least over $1, hopefully more if we see a break of um, this bull flag when that happens. Oops. Yeah, I also like SOS. I think I mentioned this one in my latest video, and you can see that it also has a bull flag. The reason why I like this is because it already hit the critical support. It bounced up, and it's now working with the 50 MA. Watch this stock. If Bitcoin breaks its breaks a new high, every time Bitcoin has a lot of news coming out, every time the media talks about news, this stock goes absolutely crazy. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow.